politics. Sorry.
They're all tricks. They're all games. They're all bullshit. Fuck them. That's not why we're here tonight, though, people. We're here to talk about Vampire Hunter D because we get honesty from our horror films, not from our president. Fuck him, too. But what's up, people? How you doing out there? Hope you're all doing very, very well. Episode 547 of Horror Thirst 30. And we're back again. And we have some familiar faces back again. With Trevor and Mick being back again. They disappeared for the Underworld versus Resident Evil. Chris happened to pop in during the tail end of those, but he was gone for a while.
Yeah.
He was gone for a while, so he just happened to show up. But yeah, we got the crew. It just feels good. A lot of us are here and talking some film now. But how's everybody doing tonight? James, how you doing tonight, man?
Doing good, man.
Trying to go
a little
around.
tired, but that's normal.
I hear you. How about you, Chris?
I'm hanging in there, bro. I'm super excited to be back streaming. New energy. I'm invigorated, and it's gone well so far after a week.
Did you just say the N-word?
I heard
No, I said after a week. It's going well.
Invigorated.
Yeah, I'm invigorated.
Invigorated?
Yes.
Invigorated.
Like
Yeah.
N dash.
And dash.
Yeah.
All
or
of it, yes.
EN as one word.
You gotta drop that E and D at the end and just go with an A.
You should subscribe to me.
Subscribe to me.
Point right at him.
Subscribe to the scene, Snobs.
It does say that.
I mean, I'm not gonna say you. I'm not gonna say you shouldn't. But
Considering I'm on TikTok right now, giving you all hearts, you should.
very beautiful.
You already had my heart.
Oh, baby boy.
Follow his lead. Follow both their leads.
Listen. When I get my job at Olive Garden, I'm going to toss in salad day and night.
That's nice.
Sounds
We
well.
may have to come visit you for some of that tossed salad of yours because you're gonna be an expert by then.
Unlimited. Except for you, Chris. You have to pay for every bowl.
Story of my life. What else is new?
Every bowl of salad.
Story of my life.
Can I have unlimited breadsticks? No.
Not for you. Oh shit.
It is what
Holy
it is.
fuck! But
You can
yeah,
put that subscribe button back up.
Vampire Hunter D though. Trevor, how you doing? Before we get
I'm
into
doing
this?
really well. Thank you for having me as always. Took a little bit of a break, kind of to, work some things out and think about a few things, and also just kind of needed a little bit of a break. I missed you guys immensely. I also missed kind of having this on a schedule. Also, but I did pop in a couple times, and I really enjoyed you guys' take on those two franchises. So
Appreciate it, and glad to have you back. Glad to have you back. And of course, you were asked, "Well, where's Uncle T? Or where's Professor T?" I'm just like, look, there's more than just him on the show, guys. But no, it's always awesome when people are gonna be happy to see you back and having your knowledge and
well, thank you
deep
very
dives you
much.
do is gonna be awesome to have back to just. Which I know you tuned in, Chris, but like having Trevor like go in action live, where you just kind of sit back, you just listen, like excited, like it'd be like I don't know what car guy it would be, but just anybody at the track. They just start that car up, just that fresh motor, that first time, he just started it up. Not only that, but it's like his first time really getting into it, and how happy everybody is and silent they are. You almost want to cry together, but you don't because you're like, all right, we can't be crying over a car starting, guys. Now,
One
if he
of the more
wins,
annoying sides of neurodivergence.
if he wins today,
so
that's different. Might drop a little tear. You bring that Mustang back out and take the trophy home. Might also be crying because you beat me in the finals and I'm mad.
That's the story of perseverance you tell the young ones around, teaching them the lesson of sticking to it, finishing that project.
And hunting
So Chris is back after a break.
Yep.
I'm sorry. We've been
Long
busting each
break.
other's balls all day, so that's why we do this. I love this man. And you should go check out the Worst Damn Gamer Evr on YouTube.
You should. And
Thank
Twitch. And TikTok and everywhere else you can follow him. But is this everybody's first time watching this film? First, second time? For me, it's my second.
It's my second.
I've seen this before.
You said you've seen it before?
I seen it a long time
A
ago.
long time ago.
This is your first. What's your first impression of this, Chris?
it shows its age. It was decent, but it shows its age a little bit. I'm spoiled. I'm spoiled nowadays. It's hard to impress me.
I'm like, I used to watch this and like thought the animation was awesome, the fight scenes and everything. Then you sit there, you're like compare today's.
Yep.
Today's freaking animation is insane.
Yep.
Hey, don't knock virtual reality hentai.
All right.
I was waiting for
Had
somebody to say
a
something
little
like
bit of
that.
that.
Send me the
I was
link.
waiting for somebody to say something like that. Which, I mean, yes, you could say the anime style is better now, but I do still appreciate and like that. I don't want to disrespect it by saying it when I say this because I love this form of art, but almost like a coloring book style that comes to life. But like really good coloring books, not the kiddie shit. More like when you got the animated ones. Kind of gives me that feel to it. But drawings, maybe comic book. Well, it is comic, but I just like the style. I do like the style of it.
It
Yes, now
tried.
it's way better, way smoother, and all that good shit. But they
Yep.
did their thing for its. They definitely did their thing for its time. And I think because we grew up in that era, I'll speak for myself, because we all grew up in that era and seeing that stuff around that time. I feel like it does hold up. Versus, like, I know a kid watching it now. I'm not gonna say all kids because there's a lot of kids that like old shit, but there's some kids that are watching now. Oh, this is old. This is too old and stupid. This is what you guys used to. I was like, yeah, you son of a bitch. Wait till your shit's old. Give it 4 more years when your shit's old. You were just crying at Goofy yesterday, you little dumb fuck.
Facts.
Getting vulgar.
Oh my God. Sturdy's getting dirty. Sir Dirty over here.
Sometimes you gotta stand up for yourself as a man, Mick.
I don't think that's true. I sit well at beta. So I'll just stay there.
There you go.
Listen, all right. I said I'd shut up.
About principle at times.
Well,
But no,
when I was watching this, because I watch newer anime now,
Mhm.
I didn't notice it from back then, but it's crazy how they cut the next scenes. Like you think a full battle's gonna go in and just cuts off and goes into a next scene, and she's walking tied up, trapped, or you're like, I don't remember being like that, because now they do it where they don't do that shit. It's like the scenes are extended and everything. And, but back then I'm like, holy shit! I forgot they used to do this shit.
Yeah, they leave it to the imagination for you to make the inferences and everything. It's kind of dope.
Yeah.
You know, one thing I appreciate about anime / I'll even say cartoons, animated series, or you want to call it all across the board. I love that the ones that have story from when we were kids to when we were adults never like got rid of that, because there's like a lot of live action stuff that gets rid of that most important part, which is story. They'll have the visuals, and this is with movies and everything. But I feel like with animated, they really, really do want you to get the story out of something. They don't just want you to get the visuals, which I really appreciate that.
Anime, especially, I would say.
Yeah, I agree.
But the extended narrative is very important in anime, because most anime comes from manga and light novel. And those, I mean, I don't know what I think of top of my head. Naruto, how many volumes? So by itself, it lends its interpretation to a long narrative. So to see basically an hour and 20 minutes of an adaptation of what is the first novel or manga by this gentleman named Yudeyuki Kikuchi, who also wrote the source material for Wicked City.
I like it.
So in 1980, he released the first Vampire Hunter D manga / novel. And I forget the name of the gentleman, but he worked with and continued to work with the person who did the majority of all art for Final Fantasy.
Is it Yoshitaka Amano?
I believe so. Yes,
he was the illustrator on this. That's what.
Yeah. But you'd said about it being kind of feeling a little old. Looking at the time period, it's kind of hard, because if you look at the source material, the gothic and the just flowing aspects of this amazing thing don't translate as beautifully, but the same light, this is pre-Akira. So, without this film, probably Akira would not exist because Akira didn't jump on the scene until like another 3 years or so.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Because the film we're talking about was 1985.
Yep. Even though I said it feels dated or whatnot, and it kind of
Mhm.
shows its age, it's still, again, for its time, it does things that you take note of. Like part of, like James has said, with how they cut to certain things to have certain beats of you being, shocked at what happened, or now you know the outcome clearly because here's the end result. But there's also little caveats and nuances just within the art style itself, where it's more. They get to take a beat and take a minute and telegraph more through the artwork. So there's a lot of times where the scene just freezes on like the main character or the evil person's face, and he's grimacing, and you get to see all the details and the folds of his face and his teeth and stuff. So not to take away from it, obviously, but like I said, I'm just spoiled by modern day art direction or whatnot, and also just the artistic styles that they have. Everything's so computer assisted and generated nowadays, and so smooth and fluid and very vibrant and colorful. And this takes you back to when they were meticulously planning, drawing out these storyboards, and picking and choosing exactly those moments that they want to have you go on a journey with, to give you those inferences or convey those messages or show you the evolution of the story continuing. So I mean, it's a dope thing to see, because now, like you said, you're kind of seeing where, when things started being popularized and actually starting to come more towards the mainstream, where it all kind of ramps up from. And I mean, Japanese anime has been around forever with Gigantor, Mighty Mouse, Speed Racer, and all of these other
types. It all kind of comes out of the Super Sentai concept. Yeah. And then, so Super Sentai mixed with the popularity of manga, and there you go.
Yep. Yeah, it's cool, man. It's cool to watch the evolution. That's part of the good things about watching and going through different stages of your interests and hobbies. You get to understand a little bit more. You see the transition. You kind of get a feel for how we got to where we are now.
Well, Chris and Sturdy, you guys both brought up the idea about editing, and an interesting aspect is Kikuchi was. I mean, I'll send you guys some of the samples from the actual manga because it is just so beautiful. But he hated anime to, even when, so he would, his stuff with Vampire Hunter D as a manga, the popularity was unreal. And this anime was the first anime to be marketed to the United States because it was so big. And it's weird because as you dig further into this film, it is also one of the least Asian animes. And it pulls so much from European lore and also horror and the gothic. But it also is a science fiction film, and the original books are also science fiction, and it's set. Okay, so in the books in 1990, we have successfully blown ourselves to shit. I'm not talking like we blew up a couple bombs. It's literally virtually nothing can exist. From there to when the film starts, which is 1240 AD, there are few humans that try to actually create a new world in that first 100 years. But the vampires come up from their sleep and then take over this truly almost desolate world. And anybody who survived automatically became their servants. There was an overthrow about 150 years into this narrative. But with that comes the advent of the hunter. And the hunter is there to try to finish off the nobility. And Doris, who's our main character, who has been bitten by one of these nobilities, Magnus Lee, this is the person that we follow. I mean, to go back to the editing, done with several characters, but her character a couple times you'll see her and then they'll edit in just like an image of her like totally different or something. And that goes back to sorry, neurodivergence, but goes back to the fact that the person who created this wanted this and Wicked City and its sequel to be more cinematic than anime. So to me, I'm not a big anime fan, but I really enjoyed this. I think I enjoyed this and I enjoyed Wicked City because they're presented with more traditional cinema language as like films.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Nice.
Welcome back.
that's right. I'm sorry.
Akira's better. No, I'm kidding. This is a great movie. It's a lot of fun. This great lore. I don't know much about anime. I watched some of it with my son. I like older stuff, especially. I do like Vampire Hunter D. Akira is one of my favorites. And they're not like an over amount. Like was it a Fist of the North Star? I like that one.
Yep. Who
There was
the
something
director
about
of
these.
this film directed.
Oh, awesome.
Yep. Toyo Yashida.
Toyo Yashida.
I thought he was going to say Toyota.
This guy.
That was the director of this one. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Toyo
yeah.
Yashida.
The next year, he ended up helming the first full length for Fist of the North Star.
I like it. I like it. Very cool. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I think this is a really good movie. I had a lot of fun with it when I saw it. There's something about the animation in old anime that I actually enjoy more. There's something grittier about it. I think anime is a little too not animation, but anime included in that today is because of all the CGI. Also being used. It's almost too clean, too pretty, and I understand that for some things. But could you imagine, like, even when we watched like those Godzilla animes last year, if they had that grittiness of like the 80s,
it would give it a different. It would give it a different feel. It almost it could be the same exact visuals as far as like just visually telling the story, but if it just looks grittier, it's almost telling a completely different story or making that story from the way that was more impactful. I'll say.
That's all I had in terms of points.
But no, really quick though, because I just thought of it because I was about to show what movie what series I'm about to check out. If you guys can each send me on Facebook, send me a cover if you can think of one before the show ends of an animated series that you think the people should check out.
Series or movie?
Tonight we'll do series. Next week we'll do movie. I'll switch it up every other, just to kind of throw something out there. I'm gonna throw them all on a thing and then pull it up on a graphic.
You want to watch a controversial? Yeah,
anything animated, just something that's animated that you really enjoy.
Let's watch all 6 to 8 hours of Ora Koja Doshi.
If you want to watch something messed up, watch Ghost Stories, but the dubbed version.
Oh my God, my son's been showing me that.
Send me the cover, James.
Oh my God.
Send me the cover, and I'll throw it on this thing.
Okay, so everybody's in on the joke. Okay, Ghost Story came out. It made it to the shores of the United States about 1993, and for some reason, the first season, when they dubbed it, apparently they weren't getting paid enough or whatever, or they just didn't care. They basically redubbed it like Woody Allen did with What's Up, Tiger Lily. It's a very problematic at this point comedy. So just so everybody understands that, if you want to kind of cringe a little bit, James brought up something quite cringeworthy, but funny as hell.
Because it's like they're in a meeting room and they're like, what's the worst thing we can do? And they're just, the episodes are just, gets crazier and crazier what they say and do. It's nuts. But I recommend that one. Don't watch the normal one, because I guess the normal one's fine.
Yeah, it's the dubbed one you want to go with.
You gotta watch the dubbed one.
If you want to hear a whole bunch of grown people totally destroy somebody's work because they just don't take it seriously, that's it.
Got you.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
another anime series. I've seen it in the chat. I don't know if Mick said it already. He put Black Clover. That's a newer.
He dropped that one in there.
Yeah, that's newer. Ish. It came out like a few years ago, I think. But that's a good one too. It's a long story tell. Like, okay, One Piece. They're on over 1,100 and some episodes.
Damn.
And I watch. I'm caught up. I watch it all. So that's
how many episodes total for One Piece?
Over 1,100.
God damn! I thought Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z and GT was a lot.
No,
it's like 600
in comparison.
Like One Piece is one solid thing. There was no branches like GT and everything. This is all. They tell the stories by arcs.
That's true.
Like
that
Fishman Island arc, and that's like a lot of episodes. So that's what they do. They do art. Yeah.
So kind of like, well, that's kind of how Doctor Who worked. You had an arc, and then you went into the next arc.
Yep.
Chris, you got one for me?
Say it again.
You got one for me? A series, animated series?
In the horror genre?
Doesn't even have to be just in general. Just something dope that you really enjoy.
If you need to watch Initial D if you don't know what Initial D is.
Oh, hell yeah.
I don't.
It's a car anime, bro. It's all about drifting in the mountains of Japan.
Yeah. I remember that. I think I've seen
Initial D?
Initial D, yeah.
I think I've seen
the hero car is a 1988 Toyota Corolla hatchback, the Hachiroku, the Treno. They call it the Hachiroku. It means panda in Japanese because it's black and white.
I haven't seen that.
The ghost. That's what it is. Panda ghost or something like that.
Cool.
Dope. Boom.
Yeah, that's definitely a car one. I lean more to like supernatural or like heavy on the comedy.
Yeah, I mean, there's the Castlevanias, the newer ones are good. I mean, there's adaptations in anime for tons of different things, like the Batmans and all that different stuff. And I think they're dope. I like those versions. You know what I mean?
You mentioned Castlevania, so I have a question for you, Chris, because it is not super controversial, but within like animated, whatever. But okay, so Vampire Hunter D, as a book, came out in 1980. A whole bunch of fucking issues of it. 1985, Vampire Hunter D becomes one of the highest, like, films in Japanese history. It breaks all box offices. The next year, Nintendo comes out with Castlevania, and the creator has gone from saying no to maybe, but that's it. But you as a fan, do you feel that this influenced Castlevania as far as taking the gothic in a situation where you're in a country that has a very different idea of what Castlevania Vampire D is gothic?
Yeah, that's funny you said that because I was going to mention that. I had, because I haven't seen this in forever, but when I was watching, I'm like, this is giving Castlevania vibes. But then I was like, wait a minute, it's the other way around because this came out first.
Yeah.
So Castlevania got some stuff from the Vampire D.
Possibly.
And if not the movie, definitely the books.
Trevor, do you have one for me real quick? Animated series to check out?
Series? Well, I'm just going to stick with Hellsing.
Hellsing, okay.
Yeah.
That's how you did say that earlier.
In my head.
What's funny about the title of this anime, because Doris wanted the Vampires D, if you know what I'm saying.
She did. After a while.
And the thing is, now they made her seem like the younger brother looks like he's about 8-ish, 10. I don't even know, honestly. Anime is different. He could be 13, but it looks like 10. And she looks like she's still under 18, and she's all over the freaking Vampire Hunter.
Oh yeah.
By the way, we find out, I knew from the anime, of course, but He's it's kind of like Blade too. It's like Blade.
Mhm.
He's a
Which was an
mixture,
influence, actually.
human and vampire.
Also,
Now he's a hunter. He kills them all, but find out his father is Dracula.
Yeah. So I just want to segue back to Trevor's question there. Just to keep it a buck, 100% no, it's not. It just took some inspiration. It took everything other than the certain little things of like the sci-fi aspects. The art direction looks exactly the same, costume design, the gothic airiness, even the tone of like how dark atmosphere is. Different things in how they show detailing characters with certain things and the transitions, the broodiness of the characters and the way they portray themselves and the voice actors. Everything about this screams 100% Castlevania took this. You know what I'm saying? So I'm 100% there. But at the same time, I'm not mad at it because, again, the greats steal and make it their own, right? And then other people that just copy, they just aren't as good. You know what I mean?
I just count it as
paying homage.
Yeah, and it's like evolving. Like,
yeah, but at the same time, if that's the case, then why even be like, oh no, it's not. Just be like, no, absolutely, that was super dope. That's one of the things that made me go, hey, I've been wanting to do something like this and turn it into a game. It's a great atmosphere. 100%. You're not gonna owe them it for you getting an idea on something that's like it. You know what I mean?
Well, you know, it's funny. And I don't remember the name of the developer and creators of Castlevania, but the main person, of course, you know, as I said initially, just said there's no influence at all. He actually went to the point that, you know, okay, so the damn fear concept, which is actually taken back to Balkan folklore, but he said that he took more inspiration from the Universal film Son of Dracula than anything else. What? I've seen Son of Dracula several times, and I'm at least familiar with the Castlevania universe, so I'm like, you know,
yeah, but did you just
didn't want Kikuchi to like sue you for ripping off his books. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you're not copying it. Just give a shout out. Say, hey, I got a lot of
inspired.
I'm not doubting Castlevania. By no means.
Story was different, character development and arcs were different. You know, you throw in the thing about Dracula, his son, and him being the true line. Like, you had enough differences within it where you could say it helped motivate you because of this. Again, like I said, just the vibe, the feel of it. But still, it's not a complete ripoff. Yes, there's a lot of influence and undertones to it, but again, made original, gave us something to watch. We were engaged with it. We enjoyed how it developed and how it ended and kept us there the whole time. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, and also, I mean, as film fans, we understand that there are constantly conversations about, you know, which movie came first. But we have to understand, based on a time period or a group of, you know, filmmakers or whatever, there's a synchronicity sometimes that it could easily be as the fact that, yeah, probably the books were an inspiration, but if it wasn't for the movie making shitloads of money, Nintendo wasn't going to go make Castlevania. Right. So, you know, yeah.
No, that's absolutely right. That's absolutely. You can say that on both ends, though. Like, if it's a game, you don't see too many video game movies that aren't from like a popular game, from a game that was really now.
Right.
Do they fuck up by not following the source material that made the game so popular? 97% of the time.
Yeah. How many games aren't so similar in the same genres? It's just look, we can have the conversation about Tomb Raider, right? Or Indiana Jones and Uncharted and all these other type of games where you're doing duck and cover or treasure hunting. Yeah, that's fine. Every single fighting game, every single RPG game, every single movie. We can say the same thing about slasher films. We can say the same thing about war movies or period pieces. There's always going to be somebody that's got to do this. Instead of just being like, okay, it was something different. I enjoyed it. You know what? Maybe it was better than your last experience, or maybe it wasn't. And now that you have a new appreciation for what you claim as the original source. Fine. That's cool. That's cool. Enjoy.
Mhm.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, because it's interesting because one of the things that makes this film so enjoyable, as I said, I'm not a huge fan of anime. I
Mhm.
do watch some. I have a basic idea of a lot of the stuff that's out there, but it's not my major interest. And as far as like things maybe looking older or whatever, I watched 1951's Disney Alice in Wonderland for the first time last night.
Mm.
And there's animation where you literally can see where they're putting glass plates and cells, but that's cool as fuck.
Mhm.
I mean, so not to be able to see the process is not always a good thing. So, but this film, okay, so Sturdy, everybody here. What if I told you that this film has an amazing connection to the Man with No Name films,
Oh wow.
and also, off the top of my head, I can't think of it. Man with No Name films, and also Star Wars.
Mm.
So,
Interesting.
okay, so here's my
Really?
6 degrees of Vampire Hunter D. Okay, so Vampire Hunter D in itself is plotted like a Western.
Mm-hmm.
So you have, okay, Doris. Doris is honestly just living her daily life. She has to kill these weird mutant creatures because the Earth has totally changed in the year of 1240 AD. You don't know much about her except that she possibly, I think it's her brother, and she is attacked, and she is attacked by a vampire or a noble. This sends reverberations through her town to the point that she knows she's going to be tossed into what was an old Damphir concentration camp if she tells the head of the town and also the sheriff that she's been bitten. So she tracks down a hunter, and she wants a good one. So she tries to trick D, who it's also important to understand that he goes only by D. He has no name. Very much a Kafka thing, but also very much a connection to Kurosawa's samurai films, but especially Sergio Leone's Man with No Name trilogy.
Hmm.
And he comes into town. He's quiet. He's stoic. He has this immensely intense moral code, but he also has to fight the fact that he is discriminated and hated by both groups. He is not human. He is not vampire. He is Damphir. So he must fight that, but he knows before he leaves, he has to do what is right. And he's even going to I mean, there's even elements of shame in the film, and the fact that he tells the young Doris's brother, which is a great edit, by the way, in which you're just sitting there in this carriage, and D goes, "I want to tell you something." Boom. And you figure out what it is, which he then later, it's shown that he gives him this very Western-esque, you gotta hold in your tears and your masculinity for your sister, and you gotta. So right there, boom, you've got, this movie is plotted like a Western, spaghetti Western or traditional Western, but there's Star Wars in itself, it's a space Western. When you get to the castle of Magnus Lee, and there starts to be a fight between his mutant servant and then eventually D and Doris, doesn't that remind you a great deal of a lot of fighting between Vader, Luke, and the Emperor? And the cutting off of the hands, and the no, it's not. So okay, yeah. I mean, Mangus is like the Emperor, but he I mean, and like Luke learning,
Yeah.
D, without saying anything, admits Dracula is my father. So, this movie was exceedingly influential. And yet again, I have to bring up the fact that this is the first anime to get a wider release in the United States. So, it's interesting how much of the West is in this film, but how much of the East affected filmmakers from this film. So there's this, I love this film because it's such a weird cultural mixture. I mean, it is set in Europe. The source material tells you that. But no, it for me, this is a great film because I think it was approached not as an anime, but as we're just making a film. And that's kind of how, Wicked City, Akira, Ghost in the Shell, Perfect Blue stand up to that, because they approach it like, okay, we're going to do a film in this style, most likely based on some element of manga. I mean, even Gaspar Noé's Irreversible is based on a manga. So, sorry, I'm babbling.
No,
you're good. You're good.
Just to piggyback off of you, it's funny because you said this is the second time you say how it was one of the first animes in the U.S. and earlier you had said that it was how un-Asian it was or un-Eastern it was, right?
Yes.
And it's, as I was watching it, the thing that hit me was like how Eastern it was. And it's funny because that just is a testament to them coming into a new market, trying to make something that they think is going to be what the market wants, and then finally having to evolve and come up with styles that are more coherent to the new audience or whatnot. So I thought that was kind of cool that you touched on that, because I was thinking, wow, like you can tell this is so, just the way the story is being told and the pacing and the editing, it's very, it gives you that like you're getting an old story of history from an elder in the village telling the story. You know what I mean? Type feel on how it progresses to me.
Well, it's also interesting because in 1985, when this was released, in 86, it came out in the United States, I believe. That's also around the time that terms like manga and anime slowly start entering into our cultural, significance. Ghost House, yet again, true nightmare. But Ghost House, Pokemon, I could go on.
Yu-Gi-Oh!
These were released and bought cheaply to be syndicated, and they were put into English very much like, Ultraman and Super Sentai stuff was. But at some point, especially the 90s, because Akira came a little bit into the 90s, then you had Ghost in the Shell, and it just grew. And that's when the concept of really anime really caught on in the United States. Before it was, oh, this is dubbed. It kind of looks Asian. So, this came out at a very, very good time. And how are you going to get people hooked on an art form they're not familiar with, besides importing or exporting, pardon me, your most popular film of that year, but also one that already speaks to a new market. So, because Dracula, vampires, so many countries have so many different folklores, but Bram Stoker's concept on the European vampire is pretty generally accepted as the traditional vampire. And we all loved to admit we loved vampire films until Twilight, and then we all said, vampires? Fuck it.
What's good, 3 Gigs? What's good, Jason? Really quick, I wanted to dive into ratings, which I gave this movie a 9. Again, I love the story of it. I love the animated style of it. It was cool for me to, again, I'd seen it for the first time about 2.5, 3 weeks ago now, but in theaters. So for that to be my first time seeing it on the big screen, it was at
that would have been awesome.
It was at Regal Cinema. Shout out to my friend Anthony. He put something together with me and a couple of guys from his job, which some cool guys, and Now we got a little group together. Anytime that shit goes on, we're gonna go get something to eat and we're gonna go watch that movie. Go watch
That's
whatever
awesome.
animated movies out there, classic or maybe something newer, hopefully. But so it was good to like watch it then, of course, for the first time, and then just watch it again at home as like a refresher. The only downside is that it was dubbed, but it was all I can get. It was all I can get my hands on at the time.
Yeah, I had a copy of this, and about a year ago I sold it, and I kicked myself because it did have the original Japanese language on it. But, yeah,
It's man, like I remember being a kid and like watching it'd be movies or cartoons and getting annoyed with the captions and all that.
Mm.
And now I'm like, listen, if this is supposed to be watched in this language and I have to read, put it in that language because I feel like if the story's just told, it's just felt everything is just so much better. It feels more pure, even if it's a disgusting, terrible horror movie. It still feels more pure as far as watching the movie in its, I guess, in its original form versus dubbing it, making it easier for us to listen to. And I'm like, no, it takes away from it.
Speaking of dubbing, I have a question for you three, because I did a little searching and I could not find the answer. And one of you may already know is who does the voice for D in the dubbed version?
I don't know.
Because whoever it is sounds a hell of a lot like Liam Neeson. Think
There's
about
no way. No, yeah, it does actually.
Yeah.
But there's no way it's him.
it. It isn't. But
Chris.
whoever it is has a voice that's very similar to him, and even his inflection.
Your mic is out, Chris. Unless he's talking to his people.
He's coming back.
Technical difficulties.
Are you there?
Yes, sir.
We hear you.
That's weird. I didn't do anything. Its setting was the same. Either way, I was saying how it kind of almost sounded like the voice of the voice guy who did like the voice for Toonami a little bit, or for like one of the characters in like Space Cowboy Bebop or something like that. He did a lot of voice acting in the early to mid 90s and early 2000s. But it's crazy thinking about this, right? You was talking about how it's that time frame. We lived through a boom and I didn't even freaking realize it. Now I'm thinking back of it. I'm like, wait, I was one of the only kids that actually knew what Dragon Ball was. I was one of the only kids that actually knew the Street Fighter animes or the movies. I was one of the only kids that actually had certain games, and I was playing like Pokemon when it first came out in Japanese on an emulator back in the day. You know what I mean?
Juan, slow down. Street Fighter. Yo. The animated series was amazing. Mortal Kombat, the animated series was amazing. Both of those, the animated movies were amazing. What the fuck are you guys doing with the live action movies? You had so much source material to pull from. You just did the Mortal Kombat did better, yes.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying. I just had to get that out there. But holy shit, I forgot all about the Street Fighter one.
Yeah.
I don't think there was not to interrupt you, but I don't think there was a better decade to be alive as a neurodivergent than the 1990s. Things just started with the internet. Cable television was coming to be. Gundam, everything. But there were ways to actually start really deep diving things. And like people just became wonderfully obsessed with stuff. And fandom to the level that we know it now is something that happened in the 1990s.
Yes.
And I look now, and maybe it's just the fact that we're getting old, and somebody 20, 30 years older than me would say the same thing. But I see so much how the 1990s has shaped contemporary fandom, not just in nostalgia, but with like the splintering of subgenres, but the splintering of subgenres, which Japan was always good at, let's be honest. Guitar Wolf, yay. But it was a splintering, but there was this love that started between geeks of all types. And it became just like, the 90s, it's time to geek out. And it was a great time to be alive because, now you can geek out by just going like that.
Yep.
We had to still fight for it a little bit.
Yeah,
So-
the whole collectability, comic books, exactly, you know what I mean? Little figurines. I mean, all these different franchises of these different types of IPs that we all enjoy, and now like people cosplay as, and it's crazy. That all really started late 80s, early 90s and just blew. And it really has, this is where we're at now, having cons with hundreds of thousands of people.
Oh yeah, which is freaking amazing. If you've never, by the way, I want to say this before we dive into our ratings, spin the wheel, show you guys some stuff and get on out of here. If you've never been to a convention with whatever type of genre of film, gaming, whatever type of geek you're into, you need to go to it. It's so much fun. I can speak on horror cons. They're some of the most fun I've ever had. I've been to horror cons and like some smaller comic cons. I enjoy horror more, but what I can say about a horror con, from what I got from the feeling, from the vibe, and what I can say from like a smaller comic cons I've been to, is a horror con, everybody wants to be there.
Mm-hmm.
A comic con, some people are going there just to bring their kids or their significant other. Horror con, everybody wants to be there, including the kids. It's just a different vibe, so it's just a different energy. I highly recommend it. If you're a fan of horror, I highly, highly recommend it. But if you're a fan of whatever geekdom, go to that convention. Go to where your people are because it's so much fun.
Especially right now, it's very. I mean, that may sound weird considering everything, but this is a good time to meet with people who have shared interest and get to understand them and expand your horizons, not just on content and what you like, but also viewpoints of other people who are into the same thing. Because the rest of most of the world is having a hell of a time with it. So at least as geeks, we need to stick together and we need to fight together and we need to protect our fellow geeks, no matter who, race, gender, whatever. We need to protect our fellow geeks at all cost.
Damn right.
Preach it, Trevor.
And geeking out could be anything with that. Like, you could be geeking out on being a car guy. You could be geeking out on comic books and movie. Whatever it is you're geeking out on, geek out.
Did anybody happen to realize the synthwave audio that was occurring? It was the same notes and chords as Nightmare on Elm Street.
It was very, very similar. It was very like, and what was funny, I'm glad you said that, is because I was thinking that same thing when I first started in theaters. I'm like, this sounds so much like a Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm thinking it tonight too, but I'm like, am I the only one hearing this? Because, well, after we left the movies, pretty much everybody just went home. We had to go to work and shit the next day. So we didn't really get to talk about it like that. And now it's my first time getting to talk about it. And so I'm like, did anybody else, when anybody else was listening to this and watching this, did it click to them that that's what that? So I'm so happy you said that, man. I'm so freaking happy you said that shit.
I'm going to have to go back and listen to it now, just see if I can catch it.
I heard it.
It's very, very similar. Like, it's not a ripoff. It's so, oh my goodness.
I don't know. It felt like the same cadence and everything of before he gets on the screen, like everything seems fine and something's about to transition to a scene where it might be a dream and you get that little dun, 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 dun. It was literally, I was like,
yep.
Are we there? Is it time?
I literally tilted my head, was like, seriously?
Let's see what we get.
Oh, by the way, Aaron, I give this movie an 8.
An 8?
8.5.
All right. As soon as this is done spinning, I'll get everybody.
Just because a little bit of a slower pace with it, I'm giving it a 7.5.
I was about to say, is it the next one? That would be perfect. Oh, Wicked City.
There we go.
I
never seen this one.
Me neither.
Great film, very good manga, and also awesome Hong Kong live action film by Thuy Hark.
Really?
Which is another thing. We talked about the 90s. 90s also saw this amazing acceptance of Asian culture in the popular culture of the United States. So at the time you have anime and manga going up as far as its interest in the United States. This is the same time you have The Ring, and the same time you have Audition, and the same time, so Japan in Asia, the 90s was like here, all this stuff, and it's so different and it's so interesting. So, the 1990s just, saw a lot of film, the indie movement in itself. But no, I mean, you had The Ring, and you had Tommy, and you had Suicide Club, and it just goes on and on and on. Yeah. So, the 90s, I think it was the first time that, and one of the few times I can remember, like, just a media invasion of content, and it was all amazing. And that led into the 2000s, when it branched from Japan more into South Korea, and then when the Hong Kong stuff started to come in. It also, yet again, that shaped fandom too, because after that deep dive, everybody wanted another deep dive, and so just reminiscing about the 90s.
Great times. I'll be excited to see this. We got this off the wheel. Wicked City next week, episode 548.
Great fun.
I know you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, a movie by its cover, unless it's a porno. But that cover right there looks cool as hell.
That doesn't always work either.
You said unless it's porno.
You're probably right.
That doesn't always work.
But I'll put it to you like this: if I look at the cover and I see a bunch of, I won't name anything because I'm not going to bash what people are into. If I see something I'm not into at all, I'll know to put that down. You know what I mean? Like, I can see something crazy on the movie cover, like, but the story could be pretty good. But that, I'm like, oh man, I don't want to see this.
Well,
but you could still be right. You could still be right with that.
One quick thing about Wicked City, and then I'll stop babbling. But Wicked City is based on source material by Hideyuki Kiuchi, the same author as Vampire Hunter D. It was also directed by somebody who went on to do the sequel with him, Hoshiaki Kawajiri, who was the mastermind behind The Animatrix and Ninja Scroll. So you're in for a good movie, at least in my opinion.
Nice. Awesome to hear.
That's awesome. I'm excited for it. Like, again, animated stuff. I wish I got into it more. Anytime I got a chance to watch it on TV, besides Dragon Ball, just anything, because the styles of it, not just the drawings, or it's the art of it, but also like the fighting styles, and honestly, the food and the stories. I don't know what it is about cartoon food, more so animated food. My goodness, I'm like, yo. They're trying to do something with us. The way they draw the females in animated and the food. Listen,
food, man. Like, for example, Naruto, like their bowl of ramen. I don't like soup, and that shit looks good as fuck.
Yo, that spot I go to, I don't want to say it on here because it's nobody's business, but they have ramen there, and I'm gonna end up trying it. I'm gonna maybe build my own thing there.
Ramen, I don't like it.
I'm gonna do it because it looks so good. I like ramen, but like real ramen. I haven't had it yet. But James, you said you gave this an 8.5 for Vampire Hunter D.
I gave it an 8.
8. Trevor.
8.5.
8.5. Chris.
Gamer's giving it a 7.5 just because it was a little bit slower from my taste. But other than that, still a good story.
Gamer 7.5. 7.5. And then really quick, I did ask the guys to send me some anime covers that we should all check out. And I have one of my own with our names already bios. So I'm going to pull this right up for everybody. Boom.
I'll say.
Oh, Ninja. Yeah, that's a newer. Black Clover.
I've heard good things about Black Clover.
Black Clover. Oh, you can't see them all because hold on.
Yeah. Ghost Stories is I'm not saying it's the best anime. Like, yo, you gotta check this one out. I'm doing it just because the dub version is so controversial.
Oh, yeah, you can see it.
It's like Hasu, except with very problematic concepts.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
As far as
Sturdy, I got one more car anime one for you to write down.
Send it to me for because I'm gonna do recommendations again next week too.
Okay, so I'll just save it for next week.
So heads up to everybody, and I'll find a better way to kind of show this off and everything, because I kind of just came up with this. But so because we do our themes and stuff, like sticking with the themes, kind of. I'll tell you either one series or one movie we'll try to recommend for everybody, and I'll throw it up on the screen every week or something.
Sounds good.
Just to do a little something, a little more fun with this, have a little more fun. But again, I did have a great time with this film. This was it was something where if you guys haven't seen, I think you should check it out. If you're into animated, if you're into horror, if you're into both, you should definitely check it out. And again, come back next week because it's gonna be a wicked city in a wicked time with this wicked crew. But we're gonna wrap this one up, people. I'll see you in your nightmares. Thanks for tuning in. Were you saying something, Chris?
Nope, saying bye to my chat and let them know I'll be getting off and maybe coming back later and hopping in the streams in the morning.
There you go.
But real quick,
Adios.
I'll say.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, real quick, I just wanted to thank you.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've done this, so thank you for dealing with my verbal diarrhea. It's been very fun doing it. Also, want to say it's great with you guys, but Chris, it's been awesome hanging out with you. So
thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Likewise.
Yes. Oh, hell yeah. Definitely glad that. Actually, listen, we got Chris and Trevor back tonight, so we're glad to have them both back. And we're not going to let them go away for a long time. We're going to, even if we have to chain them to a chair or something, throw carrots in their room so they can still eat, and a gerbil bottle of water. They'll be all right. But seriously, though, make sure you guys tune
tied to a chair, a bottle of water. Does this involve Richard Gere?
Not at all. Not at all. Just you and Chris.
As long as there's no baby oil involved, we're good.
None of that either. We just want you guys to be around for the podcast.
You know what? The hamster.
No, it was a gerbil. Well, it probably didn't happen because it would have eaten the lining of his rectum out. But it was an urban folklore for a long time.
Yep.
That's not why I want to chain you guys to a chair. I just want you guys to podcast. That's it.
That's as crazy as heart.
Well, James might do that for you. That's more his cup of tea. But we're going to get out of here, people. I'll see you in your nightmares. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you go check out Worst Damn Gamer. Of course, check out Popcorn and Pines, Horror Research 30, Ambassador Radio, The Scene Snobs, 3 Geeks. We're out here. I'll see you in your nightmares.